What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? How's everyone doing? Hopefully, everyone's doing okay. I'm here back again with a fourth video of this year. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully, I start to be consistent and never give up on these things because these videos are gonna help me a lot internally and externally. Now I'm getting better. If y'all hear like my voice kind of like less and less, of that rustiness, I feel like I'm gonna feel way better tomorrow. Hopefully for sure, cause tomorrow I go to work. All these days has been like my free days, my freedom, where I would just do whatever I could, before going to work and, start serving, start getting that money. So y'all know tonight is gonna be the night. Hopefully y'all saw my video from recently talking about my experiences. It was experiences with ghosts and stuff like that, and this was all in Mexico. Probably y'all don't know Spanish. I'm sorry. I wish I had the subtitles. The subtitles would actually save my day. It will save me completely because I know everyone wants to see that, and it's so unbelievable because the experiences that I was having in Mexico, they were very scared. I was scared. I was not like that type of person that, oh yeah, I'm gonna take it. What's gonna do to me? Even though like I was so dramatic. I don't even know what was going through my mind when that happened. And actually I'm gonna tell you now in English, but a little bit though. All right. So when I was in Mexico, right, my dad, he was like, "Hey, Angel, when you gonna come to Mexico?" And I was like, ah, "Man, hopefully soon, hopefully soon." Then this was this was like when I was like 13 years old. I don't even know like what year it was, or like 2000. I gotta do my math. But anyways, it was like when I was 13 years old. 13 years old. Imagine 13 years old. So when that happened, I was over there in Mexico, right? Then my dad kept on telling me that in this room, where I was staying at, my grandma died. And I'm like, no way, is he lying or something? Because, talking about spirits are like my favorite thing. But even though when he said that there was a spirit inside, that room, I was kind of like suspicious and a little bit curious, of what's gonna happen next. And then after that, I was like, well, let's see how the experiences go. And I actually stayed like for 11 months in Mexico. From there, that's when I turned 14 over there. And then from there, when I was like, all right, let's see how the experiences go. Days passed, months passed. I was actually going to school. I was doing my education over there, which Mexico is one of the best places to live. But to live with people. The people from over there are very different, like so different from here. Like what I can see from people from here, they're very like close-minded. They're very introverted. Well, same as me, but like, too introverted. Even though over there in Mexico they're so friendly. They're like, ¿Qué onda, carnal? ¿Unos tacos o qué? ¿Un toque o qué? They be like, they be so friendly. Like, damn, I never see this type of friendliness, in a while. There's no way that, Mexican people are like that. That's why I came from there, because I'm a Mexican. And I'm always like that to everyone else. You can tell anyone. This is gonna be the truth. I never talk shit about nobody. I can tell you for truth. Even though when people try to mess with me and stuff like that, yeah, sometimes. But I don't go too exaggerated, you know. But when that happened, in Mexico, I was like, there's no way that I have this kind of people over here, being so friendly, so harmonic. so lovable. Like we don't even get this in United States. Like what's happening with the people in like in this states where we're like all closed and closed minded and so introverted about whatever we talk about, whatever we see, whatever we do, blah blah blah. Everyone's in their houses. Over there in Mexico, they're all outside having fun, going to the park, riding the bikes, riding the skateboards, singing, rapping, doing writing, whatever, painting, like it was so amazing. Imagine if that has happened in the United States. Oh, a lot of things would change. A lot of people would change. There will be more kids outside playing. But since there's so many violence, wars, and so many political things happening, and so many orders and this and that, and being so close-minded, I mean, it's never gonna happen. We're always gonna be inside of a freaking box, and that box is actually is gonna make consume us. We're getting consumed by so much media around this world. And it's so crazy because Mexico is not like that. You see a lot of people outside, saying, ¿Qué onda, vato? ¿Qué onda? ¿Qué onda, watcher? They start to be so nice to you, I mean, nice is beautifully nice, like have that divine being within you in love, to be that type of lovable person with other people, like be more charismatic with people, be more at ease at point. And so like I'm saying, like just imagine if United States of everywhere you would go, like there will be people, hello there, like hello angel, or like whatever, like that would be amazing. But I've seen so many people like so closed, even teenagers. Like I'm not lying about this is all true. So when I was in Mexico, I was actually going to school, and the most favorite thing that happened in school in Mexico was the girls. I mean, shoot, who doesn't like girls? I mean, I was like, there's no way that there's girls like so friendly in Mexico, but the girls in the United States, they're so conservative. They're too closed up to talk to people. They be too shy. Even though I was too shy to talk to people, but now I ain't anymore because you start to have more confidence. More confidence within you, more confidence, more flow. You start to become like water, flowing instead of how do you say, instead of wind, crashing up back and forth. So I was always on fire, in Mexico, because Mexico taught me how to be, even though more confident with people. And I was like, there's no way that there's people like this. Like this, what Mexico I'm seeing, it should be like United States. That would be amazing. Talking about Mexico, I'm telling you, I was studying there and everything, right? I had the best teachers ever, Mexican teachers. Even there was one teacher that he was like speaking English, and I could like speak with him, and I would sometimes show off, in class and be like, yeah, I know English. What's up? Like, come on. I was like the special kid in there, the good special kid, not the bad way, the good special kid. And even though I would just like feel other people hating as well, like talking trash and be like, hey, so you're the gringo then, like in Spanish, And so I'd be like, yeah, why? I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, come on. Like, I'm not too confrontational, but when they get on under my skin, oh no, I'm different. I'm different. Even though I never had no fights, I was always an angel the whole time. I had so many friends, like many, many friends. Even I was in La Secu, over there, La Secundaria, where everyone would just be so friendly and everything. And I just remember I would like dance, and I would sing, and I would have so many crushes with so many girls, and it was like I was in a dream, you know, living in Mexico. And my most favorite thing of Mexico was, the schools from over there, and having so much friends, and everyone was inviting me. Come on, Angel, let's go to the movies. Come on, let's go to the park. Come on, let's do this and that. But I could never go out. Why? Because my dad was so protective, overprotective. Like he was like, "No, Angel. What if you just get lost and I don't see you anymore? What if somebody, el sicario, comes to get you and I don't see you anymore and stuff like that." He was so like close-minded as well. But it's good. He was very overprotected, which it was the best. But even though not too much, like when you go too much, like too deep, overprotective, like you cannot do the things that you really want to do, with people. Even though, I mean, you're not doing something wrong. If you're doing something wrong, then that's something wrong. But if you're doing something right, then that's something right. So even though when that happened, I was like, damn, I cannot even go nowhere because my dad is like this, like that. Even there was like this girl, like, it was trying to invite me, to go with her, and to, accompany her, to go to her house and, come back, and I could never do it. My dad, he was like, no, Angel, you cannot go because what if you get lost? I don't see you anymore, and blah, blah, blah. And it was so much mess, I couldn't even do nothing. And so I had to stay that way, even though days passed and blah, 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 this and that. Talking about, that crazy room that he was talking about, and somebody died in there, which was my grandma. He was like, yeah, your grandma passed away in that room. And so my very first time when that happened, I was like, damn, hopefully nothing happens to me that night. And nothing happened until like it was like around 6 p.m. 6 p.m. I was like laying down. I was so bored. Like there was nothing else to do. Like I had nothing else. Like the Wi-Fi was like all sucked up. And I would just watch novelas, La Rosa de Guadalupe and stuff like that. I'd be watching all those episodes all the time. I felt like I was like the biggest fan in La Rosa de Guadalupe because damn, it's amazing. But talking about this, when I was in this type of how do you say in this scene, where I was at, it was like 6 p.m. It was so hot. I couldn't even sleep well, but I was sleeping. But I just like could just feel the sweat, the sweat just coming down like what the hell is this? Like am I in hell or something? And so when that happened, out of nowhere, just something touched me, touched my leg, and I'm like, what? Who did just touch me? Like it just felt so real, like so real. And I was like, probably, hopefully it's not. I mean, it's my dreams, that's what I was hoping. But then when that happened, I was like, you know what? Let me call my dad. Even though I was like too curious and I was so like, how do you say, out of this world, just from that, what happened. And so I called my dad and I was like, hey, dad, guess what happened? Guess what happened? And he was like, wow, wow, what? So you would not believe what just happened to me. And he was like, come on, tell me. And I was like, you would not believe what just happened. That's when I said again. And then when I told him, he was like, oh, Angel, that's just dreams. Go back to sleep. You're just dreaming of, negative, bad things always. So I was like, all right, all right. Whatever he's saying, and he's talking about, my grandma died in that room. I feel like her spirit or her energy is trying to, control me or trying to scare me. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let it go, leave it, and let's see what happens. All right. Days, months passed, this and that. The second time that happened, it was when my dad, was having all the lights off. He didn't even pay the bills. That night, I was like so mad. Not just mad, but I was just like mad because I mean, who's gonna live without lights? Everything was like pure darkness. Like if I was like inside of a cave. Like I don't know if you remember back in those days. 5,000 years ago when like people like humans started to like discover fire and everything. I was just like that. With my candles and everything. Like putting fires everywhere just to see where I'm going and what I'm looking at. Because damn, my dad, he didn't even care. I mean, it was just one night, and that night I was so dramatic. Oh wow. So even though when that happened, I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's see what happens. Even though like I was always thinking and thinking of the lights and everything. So I took a shower. I was like my dad and everything. He was over there in his room watching his phone. I don't even know what he was doing, but from there I went to the shower, and so I couldn't see nothing. Only had like one candle with me on my side. And when that candle, like just stood there, I was like taking my showers and everything, and I was like taking at least like 35 minutes in. And so from there, I was like, hopefully I don't just fall from, getting out of the shower because I can't see nothing. Even in the shower, it's so dark. With one candle, I could just like do it. But even though it wasn't enough, you know. But even though when that happened, I went to my room and it was like around 2 in the morning. And from there, that's when I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to sleep, even though it was too hot. I didn't even have a fan because my dad doesn't even have fans. He only had his big fan in his room, like over there by the wall. Like those big fans, the ACs, he was having one of those. But over here, I didn't have nothing. It was like so dark, hot. I couldn't even like be comfortable. So when that happened, I was like, you know what? I'm going to sleep with just one sheet. Only had like one sheet in my bed. And with one sheet and one pillow, that's all I could sleep with. That's it. Even though if I had like a bigger sheet, bigger sheet to be covered, I mean, it'll be more hotter. So I had to be like naked, not like 100% naked, but like my boxers and just a shirt and with no socks. That's the best feeling. But even though it was too hot that night, I even opened the window from up there, so a little bit of air just could just condition me, make me feel like more at peace. But even though that night was too hot, I couldn't stand it. I had to like understand what was going on, that night. Even though when that night happened, out of nowhere, I was sleeping. That's when I was sleeping. Out of nowhere, there was this crazy sound, in my right ear. And I was like, literally, I was with my blankie. I was with my blanket like this. I was like this. And then out of nowhere, there was like this voice. I couldn't understand what the voice I heard, but it was just like a really deep voice, and that really deep voice literally just like screamed at me. But it wasn't like a crazy scream like like that, like like Shrek. No, it wasn't like that. It was more like a deep voice, like a monster voice or demon, something like that. And that's when I was like, so when that happened and screamed, that's when I was like, yes, yes. So I was like, what the hell is that? What? And that's when I was like, I just got up. I got up. And that's when I was like running. And I threw the door. And I went inside to my dad's room. And I told my dad, Dad, guess what happened? Guess what happened? And he was like, What? Like he was like so confused and everything, and I was like, you would not believe what I just heard. You would not believe what I just heard. Like, and he was like, what you heard? Tell me what you heard. He was like kind of pissed at me for just like coming inside like crazy, you know. So when that happened, I told him, and he was like, all right, I'm going to check the room. And so he went out and checked the room. My room is over here, and the room where he was at is right here. So it was like 5 steps away from his room. Well, not, yeah, 5 feet away from his room. So when I went to his room, that's when he was like, all right, let me check what I'm going to see in that room. And so he was walking into that room, and so he didn't see nothing. I mean, what is he gonna see? He's gonna see the ghost sitting down there or something. I mean, not like that, but like, it was something crazy. I wouldn't believe something like this just happened to me. But even though, I mean, it was my second time, and I had a third one, and this was actually in Houston. This was when I was having me and my little brother. We were like, back then, back in those days, young youngsters. I was like 11, 11 or 12, yeah. So a year ago when this happened, you know, from the experiences, I was like sleeping. I was like sleeping up top, and I don't remember if he was sleeping or not, but I feel like I was like the only one. But me and my brother, we was like sleep together, but not like together like this, but like, we would be separate. We'd be having like this type of, beds, like the double beds, where you walk up, from the stairs, and then there's your bed, right? And then there's like this bed down over here as well, so it's kind of like a double bed with where you can actually put, more of your clothes, in the drawers and stuff like that. We had like two big drawers in there. And so when that happened, it was like around 8 at night, 8 p.m. Like, it's always happening at night for me. And it kind of happened the same thing as my first experience, my second experience in Mexico, when somebody touched my leg, and that's what I felt. And I was like, no way. I was like kind of scared and conf- confused and everything, because like I was like, I hope this is a dream, because like this felt so real. I couldn't just imagine it. And this was actually in Houston. And so, just talking about this type of experiences, it just makes me think that we're not alone. That, there's a second world, you know, the spiritual side, the spiritual world, what we call it, and the spiritual world is a different world. We cannot perceive that world because we don't have, that type of power to see beyond the line, to see beyond the veil. But there's always a way to see that veil and open it by